This is Robert Clotworthy, the narrator of The Curse of Oak Island, and I have a question for you. Could it be that you are listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream?
This is a top pocket find, mate, for sure.
Could it be that you're listening to The Curse of Oak Island and Beyond live stream? Yes, you are, and thank you guys for coming. I am your host, Jeff Freeman, and tonight we have Linda Simpson on with us tonight. All right, Tom Burns and Colin Jamieson, thank you all for coming. Appreciate it very much. So, with Tom and Linda in here, that leaves Jan doing like triple duty tonight out in the chat, which I know she'll do great. She always does a great job. And Jack's out there too, so he can kind of help keep an eye on a few things. But thank you so much, Jan, for taking on the extra responsibility tonight. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's that's going to be.
Jan is a really good sport for doing this because it's a lot of work.
It truly is. I know. It really is. Yeah. Hey, I'm good, she says. I'm good. All right. Yeah, she's good to go. Good to go. So, but anyway, yeah. So I tell you what, I do want to throw out a few things as we're getting started here, and the room is starting to get filled up. Oh my gosh, quite a few people already. I want to say a few shout outs. There's Anne Marie. I tell you, Anne Marie from Germany. You are one of our. You and those of you that are up at like 2 or 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to watch the show, I really got to tell you, I can't believe that you do it, but thank you for for doing that. I tell you, it's man, it's got to be late for you, or early, I should say. Yeah. Jim Barlow from Tennessee, how you doing? April's here with us. Hi, April. Dave Petrella, sorry, is here with us tonight. Thank you for coming. There's Jack and Dale. Hey, Dale, Carney. Dale's going to be back. Well, there won't be a show next week, right? I guess there's no Curse of Oak Island next week. So we won't be doing a recap next week on Wednesday night. And there is no show tomorrow night because there's no Beyond, or there was no Beyond last night, right? Did I get that right, Linda?
You did. You did good.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we do have a show coming up this Saturday. And again, I want to say, sorry, folks, I apologize for Terry DeVoe. And I apologize to Terry as well for the internet issue that I had that seems to be cleared up for last Saturday. And we weren't able to get Terry on the show. I wasn't able to do a show. Unfortunately, they finally got it fixed late in the day, but unfortunately it took a while, and we had to reschedule with Terry, and I'm hoping to have him on one of the first Saturdays of March, waiting for his response on that to get him set up for that. But this coming Saturday, we have Gretchen Cornwall and I will be hosting Graham Phillips at 2:00. Linda, have we put up much for Graham on our Facebook page at all to kind of help?
Not a lot on our Facebook page, but we've sent out 4,000 invitations.
Wow.
So 4,000 people have been notified out of our group that we're having this show. Wow. And who he is and why he's coming on.
Right. And this guy, I mean, we're talking Templar people, him. And then the following week, I see Graham he's written a few books, several books that are really cool. So we'll be talking about those books, and he's got a really cool, one of them is about the Magdalene.
Chalice of the Magdalene.
Yes, Chalice of the Magdalene. And I've watched a video on this. I haven't read the books. I didn't get the book yet, but this is good. You guys don't want to miss this.
Really
this is going to be it's going to be really, really good. And then that's the Saturday, the 19th, this Saturday, coming up at 2:00 Eastern. And then the following Saturday, we have Luca Santoni. And Luca is going to he's a film director, and he's got a TV series that he's done about the Templars, 7 episodes, I believe. And we'll be talking about those. So, man, I tell you what, these guys, and Gretchen's going to be co-hosting with me on that as well. So 2 back-to-back great Saturday shows. You guys really don't want to miss these. This is really going to be cool information. I know we do them at 2:00 because we hope we can get our friends over across the ocean to be able to join us as well, because it's like a 5-6 hour difference for them. So, but yeah, we're going to have a great time with these guys. Really looking forward to having both of them on, and then of course Gretchen coming back. So we got to get Gretchen back on here too. because she's fascinating in her own right. So let's see who else has popped in here. Well, I don't think. Oh, we got.
Quick special ask, Jeff. I know you guys get a lot of people from around the world. Love when people are putting their comments in. So I know there's a ton of people putting stuff in there right now.
Yep.
If you can put in where you're from in the world would be spectacular.
Thank you, Colin. Appreciate that. Yes. And I see we have a Danny. Is it pronounced Danny? Hello from Germany. So we have another one from Germany.
Nice.
So welcome. Thank you.
We have
I hope I'm
three or
pronouncing
four
it.
from Germany, a couple from France, several from the UK, who all set their alarms for 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and get up and watch not only the show last night, but us.
I know. I know.
From
That's
California.
Yeah. Yeah. Chico, Well, that's Court. Hey, Court. Court's here with us tonight. Liam is Wisconsin. Hi, Liam. Kat is here. Let's see who else we got. Henry DeWitt, of course.
Henry's here, yeah.
Yep. John Edwards is here with us. Hey, John. John stepped away tonight to give a break and get a little break and to get some other folks on here with us. Who else we got?
Some guy named Dale is there, I guess, from Nova Scotia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah. I hope he's back in his house. Dale, you're back in your house now, all nice and cozy and power back on, I hope. Yeah. Yeah. He had
I'm in my living room. I'm in my living room, he says.
Yeah, he was live last week from his hotel with the background of Halifax in the background. That was pretty cool. Tracy Benjamin, hello from Michigan. All right, another Michigander. UP or LP there, Tracy? Are you from the UP? A Uper? Like myself. Elizabeth is here. Hi, Elizabeth. Karen, Jim Barlow from Tennessee. April is here. Wow, got a lot of folks showing up.
And for anybody who's watching, I'm actually less than 5 minutes away from Oak Island, right where I sit right now. I'm a local.
Yeah, and his boat. I tell you, and we got to really thank, for those of you who may not know that already, Colin frequently goes out on his boat, mostly on the weekend, right?
Yeah.
During the summer months, takes his boat and he goes around Oak Island and he takes pictures and he posts them on our Facebook page. And that helps us during the summer months to get a lot of insight as to what's going on. So we really appreciate that a lot. Yeah, we love Colin. That's what getting some We Love Collins popping up. Oh, Tracy's in Saginaw. All right. Well, I just went right by you. Next time I go by, Tracy, I'll wave as I drive by Saginaw, because when I go up to the UP, I drive right by there. So, yep. Going across the big bridge there, across the Saginaw River.
Yeah. Well, the boat this weekend, we'll have to cut some holes in the ice to get out there.
Is it froze over on the
around Oak Island? It's not. My little the cove that I live in I've got quite a jag of ice in my cove. So
yep.
Hopefully the end of March we'll be doing some early recon missions. So
good.
Hope so.
Good. We're looking forward to that. Bob McVeigh is here. Hi, Bob. Julia Caesar. Amy's here. Hi, Amy. Wanda. Avon Lady's here. Oh my gosh. Paula Mason. Hi, Paula. Linda Simons. I hope I'm saying that right. Linda, is it Simons or Simmons? Symonds. I hope I'm saying that correctly. From Nova Scotia. Glad you're here. Jack, my tall co-host, is talking about you, Colin. You guys are both like 6'8" or 6'9" or something like that. Or? Yeah.
Just a little guy.
Yeah. Kate from Boston. Hi, Kate. Houston, Texas, Dave. Let's see. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of folks. Roberta's here. Hi, Roberta. Paula Steen is here from Jacksonville, Florida. MJM. I don't think I've seen from Australia. All right.
It's
MJM.
tomorrow afternoon there.
Yeah. Is 8 okay. ADELAIDE. Adelaide, Australia. Wow. Awesome. Yeah, that's great. And then I saw the Awoken one was here. I saw early on Robots here. Okay.
Alessandra's here.
Alessandra is here. Oh, yep, there she is. Sandollar Ray. Hey, Sandollar. Appreciate it. Eric Spencer. I know Eric and the Awoken one were here before the show even started. Michael Ray's from Toledo. All right.
Awoken one is from Ireland.
Ireland. That's right. Yes. Oh my gosh. That's another. And I have that would be 5 hour difference, right, to Ireland. probably. Okay.
Before, at least, I think, yeah.
4.
Yeah, at least 4 for sure. My goodness. Well, thank you, folks, for all being here tonight. And we've got before we get into the meat of the show tonight, too. I wanted to also say, we've got those folks coming up, and I tell you, Jan and Linda and Tom, have been working so hard. If you've noticed the not only the 4,000 invites, that's just for the one show, and you figure 2 or 3 shows, they're sending out all these invites. Your fingers clicking and buttons, it's a
Let me
lot
tell
of
you.
work.
Let me tell you. That's not easy to do. That's not easy to
There's a
do.
click for every invitation.
I mean,
And Tom has learned this week all about clicking.
well, I tell you, and let me tell you, folks, this show and this Facebook group would not be happening without the hard work of these folks, Jan and Linda and Tom, and it just, yeah, I can't thank them enough. They need a raise.
Yeah.
Checks in the mail and the checks in the
How
mail,
about-
right?
I know.
Some pay it all might be good. I don't know, so. But anyway, I tell you, it really would not be happening without them, and I cannot thank them enough so I drag them onto the show and say, no, okay, you got to be on the show with me. So, and then of course we get great co-hosts like Colin and Dale Carney and Jack Campbell and John Edwards anyway. So, but we've got some great people coming up here in the future as well, and cast members. We've been lining up cast members of The Curse of Oak Island. Some I can tell you, like Laird is already scheduled. Laird, we got him scheduled. Carmen Legg's going to be coming back. We've been talking to Steve Guptill too. He's coming, but we just haven't figured out when yet. But we're going to have a couple of surprise guests from cast members of Oak Island coming on. Can't tell you who just yet because we don't have them scheduled, and we will wait until we do, and then we'll make the big announcement. But we've got some special guests that you probably have not seen on any other podcast, or maybe
Jeff,
just
is this a could it be moment? Could
Yeah,
it be?
yeah.
Could it be?
Yeah, really
Yes.
excited about some of the people that we've got coming up. And I tell you, here's the thing. With these cast members, I kind of mentioned it a little bit last week, but with the cast members of The Curse of Oak Island, it really we can't have them on too soon. Because as you saw with Carmen, or even some of the researchers who have been on the island, or that you may not have seen yet, that are on the island or were on the island last summer, we can't bring them on too soon because if you do, they can't talk about anything. So if I was to bring somebody on in a week or 2 weeks from now, and we've got probably 10 more episodes to go, they wouldn't be able to tell you about those 10 episodes. And they might be significant in what they get to tell you. So having them on now would be fun. It's all fun and great, but they can't tell you about anything. They'd be all like, well, you'll have to wait and see. And I don't want to put them through that, nor does Linda or Tom or anyone else. So we need to wait until most of the season is ended, or the season is ended completely on TV. Now they can talk about anything that's aired that they've seen.
Well,
And
I had a question about why we were having Carmen back. You guys, Carmen is on the show all the time.
Yeah.
We could have Carmen every month and he would have lots he could tell us and talk about. So having him back is just so he's not so overwhelmed with talking about 4 months or 5 months worth of stuff.
Right. Yep.
But the others, it's just stupid to even think about having a cast member on as a guest before the end of the season.
It is.
Well,
It truly
yeah,
is.
And the other thing is too, you don't want to put them in a position where they might want to or can't maybe quite tell you, and they don't want to be hedging. You don't want to put them in that spot.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
I will
Exactly.
say for anybody that missed that last special episode you did, Jeff, with Carmen Legg was on there. I guess that'd be weeks ago. It was on a Saturday. That was awesome. Anyone
Yeah,
that
that
hasn't
was,
seen it, go back in and watch that episode. He's a fantastic guy. A lot
He's
of
a
very
great
good information. Yeah, it
Just
was
the amount of history alone that he has, right?
Oh, I know. And he's so
Backstory.
entertaining, though. I mean, he is truly so entertaining. He can just
Mhm.
he could do his own show, quite honestly. He really could. It's like Tony Sampson. Tony's the same way. We haven't seen Tony on the show yet this year. I bet we will. And Tony will be coming on with us. We've been talking to Tony about coming on, and a lot of times he pops up in the chat. I haven't seen him on yet tonight, but he'll pop in sometime, probably tonight. But again, the same situation. If we brought Tony on now, he wouldn't be able to tell you about what he's doing later in the season. So that's why we have to wait. And you get other great guests like the ones we got coming up this Saturday, and Carmen and all that kind of stuff. So that's why. And I just want to let you guys know that it's not because we're not talking. We've been talking to them all season, all winter and everything. So we just don't want to bring them on. And like Tom said, you don't want to put them in that position. Because you get them into kind of a bind where they really want to tell you something, but they can't. And I don't want to do that to them. That's not what this show is about. The same thing for the researchers too. So anyway, that's why we're waiting, and we'll have we got some surprises, some good surprises of who's coming on. So, but once we get that locked in, we'll make those announcements, and then we'll move on from there. So that pretty much. Oh, and like we said, there's no Curse of Oak Island next week. They're taking a break. So we will not have a Wednesday night show. We won't have a Thursday night show either tomorrow or next week.
Great.
But we do have the 2 Saturday shows coming up in a back-to-back. And then again, we've got on the 3rd, the 1st, we have the Curse of Oak Island. So we'll be doing that. And there's also a Beyond. And then on the 3rd, we've got a Beyond coming on with Tom and I. And Tom and I are going to be, can we talk about Cindy?
Sure. Cindy Medina.
Cindy Medina is going to be on that episode, I think, on the 1st. You'll see her on the 1st on Beyond Oak Island, and then we're having her on with Tom and I on the 3rd.
It's about Pancho Villa.
Pancho Villa, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be fun. And again, this is because of Linda and Jan reaching out to these folks and asking them to come on, and they're more than happy to come in and share stuff with us. So Kate says, Jeff, you're teasing. Yes, I am. I got to build that suspense, I mean, yeah, you guys are going to be excited, but let me tell you, it's going to be great. You'll really be very excited to see Krista. Krista Brousseau. Somebody's asking if we got Krista, if we can you get Krista on?
We've asked.
Yeah, we've asked. Yeah, we have.
Sometimes they're uncomfortable even thinking about it.
Yeah, that's very true.
We give them some space, and then we go back and ask again, just like we have with one of our guests that's coming up. Mm-hmm. And after 2 years of asking, he's finally said, okay.
Yep. Yeah. So, so we're excited. We really are excited. And we know you guys will love to see who you've got coming on. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. It really is. And I tell you, they are just so gracious to come on the show with us and share their insights and stuff. So, and again, but that'll be close to the end of the season. Unfortunately, we probably have another 10 episodes, 9 or 10 episodes to go. They did 24 last year, and they said probably about the same amount this year is what we've heard, right?
The same or a few more.
So
plus
I know a lot of people were saying,
specials.
They thought last night was going to be the last one for the season. It's like,
no. Way more stuff happening. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Colin knows he was there.
It was interesting in last night's show that they kind of danced the timeline around a lot. Because you notice when the guys went to, well, maybe I'll leave it till later, went to New Brunswick.
Yep.
It was quite late fall when that was happening.
Yeah.
And the caissons were happening certainly in the fall, but it was much earlier fall. It was just an interesting kind of fill-in moving around.
Kate, thank you so much, Kate. You were awesome. I so appreciate you. I really do. Kate's helping to support the show, and thank you so very, very much. I mean, this does cost money, unfortunately, that and like we have our Patreon channel, patreon.com, and it's jfree906 if you want to help support the show. And I thank you, Kate. You're wonderful. Can't thank you enough for that. It really helps to pay for everything. But yeah, like Colin said, we're going to show it. I grabbed one of the pictures just for that reason, Colin, because you can see the foliage and or lack of in the trees. So we'll talk about that as we go along here. Appreciate you. Thank you so very much. All right, so let's get started. Curse of Oak Island, episode number 15, Eyes and Boot in the Ground. Now, what did that tell you? So, of course, we were all speculating right off the bat. Eyes and boot, not plural, boots. Like Rick always says, eyes and boots on the ground. Eyes and boot in the ground. So we were all talking between, Jan and Linda and everybody, the whole group were saying, are they going to pull up another leather boot? What are they going to find down there? What's going on? So we'll get to that as we go along here. All right, let's get started with my wonderful pictures that you guys love so much. I just know you do. Right? At least I'm hoping so. All right. Beautiful shot of the Money Pit, Oak Island aerial picture that I love using these. And this one here is pretty cool because you can see the caisson they're working on right there. And of course, the caisson covers back here in the background. You can see them all lined up right here. The ones that they put on when they have the tours, which they haven't had for a while. Linda, the tours got canceled. That's official, right? Again this year?
The Friends of Oak Island have canceled their tours. They do every other weekend. The other weekends are done by Oak Island Tours, and they are making a decision on May 1st.
May, yeah.
May 1st.
Yeah.
Yep, they changed that today. It was going to be March 1st, and now they're putting it off until May.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think in the middle of April in the province of Nova Scotia, in theory, because it changes by the day,
Right.
we should be at the last phase and things should be opened up by mid-April. So if that holds together, and that means, I think production will be early, tours will be going. It's going to be a smashing summer on Oak Island for sure.
Wow.
It'll be interesting to see how they handle the tours because in the past, tickets have sold out within 5 minutes on February 1st. So they've done it way ahead of time. So I'm trying to figure out how Eventbrite will handle something being thrown at them that quickly.
Well, look at this. We got Paula says it would be beyond thrilled to have some of the special guests on March 9th podcast. I will be spending my birthday watching you all. Wow, that's great. Well, we'll try. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what we can do for you on that one. Oh, here's one for Colin. Can Colin confirm or deny if the fellowship have had to dig more than one hole for the cans and the hammer grab to search for treasure?
That's a great question. I think we were taking a vote on it. My vote was 1. Now, there's rumors that there may be more. And watching last night's show has kind of started to convert me from a one can to
A 2 can?
I think there's going to be 2. Possibly, maybe.
That was my vote. Mine was 2. Tom, how many did you go for?
I think there's 2.
Okay.
I think there's 2. And I think the boot was the mini X marks the spot last night.
Yep.
I'll tell you that they do. Whoever dreams up, whoever puts at the show, writes at the very end when they show next week's episode and how to kind of keep you engaged.
Right.
Man, those guys should win an award. Drive you crazy. Because they keep digging down deeper past the boot because they kind of go from old to, I say newer, 110-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And then they keep digging. And then, as the end of the show, they're pulling out old material and stuff from underneath. We'll call it the boot shaft.
Boot shaft. I like that. All right. Yeah, that's a good one. Oh, Eric Booking grabbed it for me. I was thinking it. I just didn't say it. 2 can Sam. Hey, Deidre's here. Hi, Deidre. Deidre with their Deidre and her husband Dustin had their show on last night, their pregame show, which was Could It Be Oak Island podcast. They were on. They got their YouTube channel, and it was great. Again, you guys are always awesome. Good show last night. And so if you guys haven't checked that out, they have their YouTube channel. They got a Facebook group. They also have their YouTube channel. It's a Could It Be Oak Island podcast is the YouTube channel. But great show, and we appreciate Deidre and Dustin very much. They're friends of the channel and our group and everything. We really appreciate you guys. So good show last night. It was fun as always. Let's see. I wanted to say this too real quick. If you have not told when you're on the Facebook side, if you have not told StreamYard that they can use your name, it's a little thing you have to do or set up. I forget. Linda knows more about the details of it. We don't know your name, and when you make a comment and I put your name up like this, we don't know who you are. It just says Facebook user. I have to look over here, and sometimes I do, and I'll look over and grab your name. Greetings from Atlanta, and I got to look to see who that was. Michelle Gibson. Okay, so if you would put your name on there real quick, just say Michelle or something like that, so we know who you are. We just like to acknowledge you, so that just helps. It helps us to acknowledge you, and we like to do that. Last night was very off topic. This is Deidre. It was very off topic last night. Thanks for the plug. Oh yeah, you guys are like we love you guys.
Burger time.
Huh?
Last night was burger time.
Burger time. Yep. Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. You guys are always fun and informative. And I got my cards too. I got all my my hero cards. All right, so there's that shot of the money pit, and so as the show started, they were talking about the hammer grab going down, finally getting that thing in the ground, and I kind of thought last week's show they were going to end right at the end of the show with the teeth just getting in the dirt. Yeah, well, that's the way it went. At least today, last night anyway, we got to see them putting the hammer grab down and pulling up some stuff. So that they were talking about this, and it was neat how. Marty was talking about the fact that, they got the hammer grab going down, pulling up, spoils, dumping it in the thing, in the little area that they got cordoned off for it. And then Billy will take and spread it out. Gary will go over and metal detect it. If he finds something, pulls it out. If he doesn't, then it gets all scooped up, put in the dump truck. The dump truck goes down to the wash plant. It's like a well-oiled machine. Excuse me. They got this all set up, and there's the wash plant. Really cool how they got this all set up to get all this done. So really neat how they worked that out. And it was neat. They called this one the TF1, which was the Fellowship 1. This one ended with D2, wasn't it? Borehole D2?
It's a D2, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. So they went down in borehole D2. And they were talking about this particular one. This was the one where they had the water that tested with silver and gold, and I believe and gold content in the water samples.
Yes.
Also wood with a possible tunnel dated to as early as 1488, and the pieces of metal that had the gold on it that was mixed with the gold had the copper and silver mix, making it, they were calling it Tembaga gold, because of the content of each in it. So that's that particular hole that they were doing. So they were getting started with that. And that was kind of neat. Like I said, to kind of explain how everybody is, has their jobs to do. And then we've seen Vanessa arrive, of course, and she has her team going and getting everything started. Once they started that, and we're gonna kind of group this together rather than jump all around too much. So what I wanted to do was jump immediately over to the guys heading down to Charles and Marty heading down to the University of New Brunswick. I was really surprised, and we got Tom Burns, of course, lives in New Brunswick, and I when they said 300 miles, I was like, really? It's 300 miles, Tom?
Yeah, they're gonna have to drive all the way up through, I guess off towards Halifax or come up around that way up through Moncton, Amherst. And all the way up to Fredericton. Yeah, it would be a 3-hour drive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, is that like all highway, or is it country roads? I mean, is it 4-lane highway? You can go 70 miles an hour. Well, you guys kilometers, I guess, up there, right? So. Yeah,
I'm not really sure coming from Oak Island what the highway would be like before you got to what was called the main highway. But once you get onto the main highway from Halifax to New Brunswick, it would be pretty much straight through driving.
I make the commute to Halifax every day, and the highway is pretty awesome. I got a twin, so it's not you're 45 minutes to Halifax, and then 2.5 hours to Moncton, and it's, you say the University of New Brunswick is in Fredericton, right?
Yeah, it's in Fredericton.
Yeah, so it'll be a solid, probably a 6-hour drive from Oak Island one way.
Wow. I mean, that's not I mean, they were saying when they were in the car here or the SUV and driving up, they were like, "Oh, it's good to get away from the island a little bit and do something else, go on a road trip." I mean, that's if you go up and back in a day, that's 12 hours just in driving. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know if they spend the night when they're up there. And
I was going to say, we don't know that they went up and back in one day.
right, yeah, very true. Yep. So maybe they did. We'll see. Well, we don't know that, but then again, it doesn't really matter. But I just got thinking about that when he said 300 miles. I thought that's like for me driving to Detroit and back. That's actually a little further than that. More like maybe Saginaw and back. That's a long way. But anyway, they get over there and they're going up there to find out. They're having this the lead bale seal tested. And get that thing looked at and get to find out about the content of the lead. So they drove up there to get this checked out. Barbara Duncan said, "Hello, fellow Nuggets." Hey, Barbara, glad you're here. Somebody else was here too. I saw Lori Girl 63. Hi, I don't think I've seen you on here before, but hello, thank you for coming. Thor is here. Wow, a lot of somebody. Oh, Jeff is here. Anchor Tours. How you doing? Glad you're here with us. Jacqueline's here. Wow. All right. So they're going to the University of New Brunswick, and that's them arriving. And one of the pictures that I had. Oh, did I pass that already? I thought maybe I got it later here in the slides. This looks like I don't know what's it. This university has been around for a long time, has it not, Tom?
It was actually founded before they found the money pit.
Wow!
It was
I was
back
trying
in
to
the
look at
1700s that the University of New Brunswick was first. It was the first English university in Canada.
Oh wow! That's pretty cool. I could tell by looking at the buildings look really old. They were up there to meet Chris McFarlane, and he was going to give his expertise. He's a professor of earth sciences. They were doing the laser ablation like they did on the lead cross. Amy says 300 miles would only get her one town over. Wow. Arizona, way spread out. Yep, it sure is. So they got and this was like the little picture where they show how they attach it in there so they can get the laser abrasion done. And then I had this picture here of showing, as the artist rendition of how it checks all the little ions as they go through. Laser abrasion laser is used to cut microscopic pieces of the surface of an atom. Isotope values are identified from the samples, which help to determine the composition of the item and possibly the region of origin.
Is this not the same process they do at St. Mary's University?
It is,
Yeah.
But at the University of New Brunswick, they can take it a step further and do what Tobias Skorwanek did from Germany.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they can do it all at one place.
So they have a database of metals and ores and stuff.
Yeah. So they don't have to send all those values to Germany to Tobias.
Yeah, they said a database of 7,000 records they went through. So.
Yeah, 7,000 records. I know, that was incredible. And that's the same thing they did on the lead cross. And I think the samples that they took from the lead cross were right here in the center. I think that was it. They might have taken a couple from the edge, but I think most of them they took right from the center. And it was really neat how they talked about that, because as they went on, as you know, they were looking at the insignia. And here I am going backwards. I was trying to get that picture again. There it is. They were looking at this stamp here in the center of the bag seal, and they were trying to identify it. And they were looking at these two letters on either side. This like a 4 with this line with the X's at the bottom was kind of common. The difference made was the two letters on either side of that kind of helped to identify where it was from and what company it was. But I didn't realize there were so many that use these things over there that it was really hard to try and figure out, which one it was. So go ahead. I thought somebody was going to say something there.
I think it's super interesting that they kind of correlated that the mining operations of, medieval or ancient, lead was mainly in France and then transported to clearly England because there are English marks on it, and then ends up all the way on an island and off in Nova Scotia. It's kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
and I mean, just because it was mined in France doesn't mean it was minted in France.
That's right.
Or it could have been metal that was used, shipped, and then reused, repurposed in England. Because I mean, it was, pure lead or almost pure lead. So it would probably be, if you're looking for lead to use, that would be the lead to have, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. And that for those guys, they're probably going to use the highest quality they can. And I would suppose based upon what you can afford. So if your company is very well established, you've got you're making good money, you're going to buy the nicer ones versus a company that's not doing quite so well might buy the cheaper ones that have a lot of,
It's probably going to hold your engraving better. It's probably going to hold your insignia better.
Yep. Yeah. He showed these graphics, and of course, I'm not a professor of earth sciences, so I have no idea what this is. But I think this was showing some of the content, I guess, of it. It's got these little signs of it. Anyway, I grabbed that just because I thought it was cool, but I really don't have a clue what it says. Let's see. It says data points error at the top of here. But anyway, so just one of the graphs that they were using. I'm sure some of you guys out there are, smart enough to know what this stuff is. But the cool thing about it was the fact that they had said that it was from France, like we were just talking about. So the lead came from a mine. He said he was pretty certain it came from a mine in France. But again, that same lead could be used by some of the other countries that are over there. And like Colin said, that the engraving, the stamp on it, that's why they were thinking it was from England because of the insignia that's on it. I guess is more likely to be an English a company in England.
That's what the thinking all was that lead seal was of English origin.
Yeah, that's what Krista had suggested
But,
the week before.
don't get me wrong, there was a lot of French in this area at that time as well. I mean, this was a contested area between the French and the British,
right,
in the early days. So,
yeah, in the 1700s, it was like they were passing the deed back and forth.
Yeah. Yep. This is that picture I grabbed to show the trees. So, and then you see them showing up with their not heavy jackets on. They had lighter jackets, but it's definitely a different time frame. And they grabbed this particular segment and brought it into this episode. But you see like this tree is completely bare and this one's almost bare and this one's very close. So yeah, definitely.
That would easily be end of September, October.
Yeah. So, and we know that they were putting the first can down. When was that again, Colin?
it was at the end of September, October. I'd say that picture there is like a late October, even November picture.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see. And again, I'm taking a lot of this information right from Jan's synopsis that she does and she puts out in the Facebook group. These are phenomenal. She does a wonderful, wonderful job with these. And I can't thank her enough because it helps us to get through the show here and organize everything. So, but yeah. Dave, Dr. McFarland tells Marty and Charles that they started out with a database of 7,000 records, as was stated here. And that 7,000 records, but were able to narrow it down to just 10 or 12 possible locations in Europe. Then he explains that there was nothing to indicate the lead was from North America, Scandinavia, or England, but it appears to be French lead. This and several other discoveries, such as the stone paving, dated back to the 1200s, 15th century, the cargo barrels and all of that stuff, the stone pathway. So we got a lot of dates around that time frame. So this is really cool. And it could it be that it could actually be around the same mine that the lead cross came from? It could. I mean, same region.
Sure. Oh yeah, it's in that same area for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, everything that came over at the time all came on a ship. Everything that came on the ship It's not like, again, here we go, oh, I need some food. I'm going to the grocery store. I'll pick up some supplies. I'll do whatever. Hence, everything came in either a barrel or a sealed bag. And I suspect that any of the bags that were sealed were things that they would have inventoried. So if I have X number, they would keep them categorized, I guess, as on the ships as they're coming over. So the bag seal, I don't think is an unusual thing to find in the area. It's just the timing of it is, the period of it is very interesting, from English and then tying it back to the same area that the cross came from is
right.
Kind of crazy, really.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. And that's what's really, and saying, like Pam said, here, isn't it great to research so far back in time? It truly is. It fascinates me to find this type of information and be able to dig something up like that. I mean, some people look at it as, oh, it's a bag seal, no big deal. But no, man, these things tell a story. They truly do. It's just fascinating to me anyway. It's all part of that whole story going along here. Let's see. Mary said, could the bag seal be from bundles of furs that were being taken off the island after trading them? I think they kind of determined, and like Eric said here, no, it was a type of wool cloth. So I don't know if that was an answer to Mary there, but I think that, didn't they determine it was from wool? I don't know, but I don't know if they would be able to determine what it was, but they assumed.
I think they thought it was from bales of cloth material.
Yeah.
Right.
But to the point on the first, there certainly would have been a lot of trading going on with the Aboriginal people of the area, whether it be furs for food and fish and supplies and so forth, and taking stuff back to Europe, because that was a very, very common thing to be happening at the time. Yeah, these were big trading posts.
Yeah, the fur trade was big back around that time.
Yeah.
Yep. Eric said, there's no doubt that all of that, it is a cloth bundle seal from England. I don't know if that was completely determined, but I think that's what their best assumption is, as far as they could tell by matching it. I don't think they said there's just too many to find out exactly what company it was.
Yeah.
Because there's just too many variations.
We've had like 2 or 3 different experts look at it, and they've all said it appears to be English. Nobody's saying, yep, that's it.
Yeah.
But it appears to be English. But yes, Darlene has a good point.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what we were talking about there.
I mean, the mine in France would be the source of the lead.
Mm-hmm.
Who actually wound up with it, who used it, and how they got it would be another story.
Right.
Let's see. So, all right. So, a lot of good points. Thank you guys for bringing those up. And again, I'm trying my best not to miss them as we go along here. So, thank you guys for your posts and stuff. That's really good comments that are being made. I'm trying to catch them all. A lot of them. The ships lost the mine, the mains. Coast was carrying lead. I didn't realize the need for lead. That was sharing.
That would have been in shipping. I mean, lead would have been used a lot of for as a ballast and so forth.
Ballast,
a lot of the older ships and so forth.
Yeah, they'd make bars of lead and use it for ballast.
Yeah. And somebody said, "Go ahead."
No, for war times, for ammunition, cannonballs, musket fire, there's a million different uses for lead back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, all of the bullets and stuff that were in the Civil War. I mean, all that. I mean, in the Revolutionary War, there was all lead, whatnot. So they were finding those in the lead ball that they found, and you've seen Gary pull up pieces of lead that looked like it was lead from. Where they had the chunk of lead or the end of when they were making musket balls or something like that they tossed aside at the end, that he found chunks of like that too. So yeah, definitely pieces that they came across. Let's see. Roberta, the science says it's French lead, and I was thinking, French bread, warm, fresh French bread with butter. Yeah. Anyway, as I digressed on that, so the guys were, again, let's get the pictures back up here. So they wrapped up things over there with some really interesting information about the bag seal. So that was really cool. I thought that was very interesting information. And again, they pieced that in there. So now they get back to the island and things are working over there and they're looking at the swamp now. And I grabbed this picture. They showed this on the show last night. And I grabbed this picture simply because they were talking about the areas that they could not search in that were cordoned off by CCH. So we know that uh, one of the things that I noticed that um, Laird, they played this segment of Laird explaining to them in the war room about finding the pottery and then having to, they asked them to stop digging in those areas. We saw the pottery that Laird found in the southeast corner of the swamp down here where this circle here is.
Yeah.
And during his explanation, and I caught it again last night, but during his explanation, Laird had said artifacts. He made the statement when he said all the artifacts that we found in those areas. So because I wondered, you've got this area here that kind of covers part of Nolan's Cross and also the south of the eye of the swamp. And then you've got all this area here. So what we saw on the show when they brought up that piece of pottery that he found in the southeast corner of the swamp was not all that they found.
Only a piece.
Right. And
Right.
he told us later that they had found artifacts in a number of places.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And that's why the team got.
Yeah, not like they picked those places randomly and said, "Hey, let's not go there."
Yeah. And that's what we kind of wondered at the time. We're thinking, why did they have all these spots? We didn't see them pull up stuff out of there. Well, they did, and we just didn't. They didn't show us for whatever reason, and that's fine. But that's why that's why they cordoned off those areas, and that's why they put an all stop to that. But also, that's why the guys decided we're not going to be doing any more archaeology here. And hopefully we'll get a little bit more of this when we get the premiere of Nova Scotia. He may be coming on the show. We're working on that. So if he does, it was cool that he was out there on the island and was out. So he got a tour. Him and his wife got a tour of the island. They got to talk with Rick and Marty and the team. Billy Gerhardt, we got all that coordinated. So that was really cool. So maybe they can all work together and come to a better arrangement for everyone. Because and some people were all mad about the whole Mi'kmaq thing. We can't be mad about that because that's very important to their heritage. I mean, that's an important part of what's going on here. And we don't want to be all Dunfield about it and come in here and just destroy that stuff. Not that the guys would. We know Rick and Marty are not like that. They're not going to do that. But you just want to make sure that you can work together in an arrangement that works for everyone and benefits everybody and not stop the dig and not.
I think it's going to answer.
Go ahead.
No, I think it's going to answer a lot of questions. I think this is going to wrap around in episodes to come. I think this will kind of come back, and I think we'll all get a much better explanation because, like we said in previous episodes, my opinion is everybody that contacted Nova Scotia in this time period would have had interactions with the Aboriginal people.
They would have to. They would have to.
Yeah. So as they're trying to put these stories together, there's no doubt about it. In the late 1300s, early 1400s, the Templars were interacting with the province of Nova Scotia and interacting with the Mi'kmaq people and so forth. So it will be very cool as they take those artifacts, because like Laird said, there's more stuff. And I think as you get some consultation with the Native community and archaeological centers in Nova Scotia, they'll be able to answer a lot more stuff, which will give more specifics on timelines and the who's and the where's and the when's. Because if you think between the stone pathway, the holes and all these different dates going from 1400s to 17 and 18, who would have been there the entire time?
Right.
Exactly right. Yep. Exactly.
So I know there's, there's the Templars, it's the Portuguese, it's the French, it's the British, it's whoever. But the same group was always there the whole time. So I think there's a lot of great answers that are going to come out of that stuff.
Yeah. And just like, and just like Dave said, wouldn't it be great to have a Mi'kmaq somebody speak about Oak Island on the show, because we've never heard from them. You're right. I think it'd be great to have somebody from them, their representative, come out and work with them. So
Yeah.
I
we may
was
see that.
referred to an archaeological group that I have to be careful how I say this, I guess. But someone who was speaking for the First Nations people and their archaeologists, that they have a ton of stuff to do and they can't just drop everything else and run to the island. That it could be a year before they could get their team of people to the island to do serious research.
That's right.
So we just need to be patient.
Right. And like Colin says, this is key. I mean, they could end up giving us a lot of more information that we didn't know before because of what their experiences are.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we've seen from last summer, as we were kind of looking and posting and we're all kind of talking about it. I mean, from when that was found in the southern swamp would have been in, mid to late August.
Mm-hmm.
And by, September, October, they got the can in the ground and they're closing. So, I mean, you're talking September, October, and we're done. So they would have unearthed that midsummer. And to your point, Linda, it's hard for everybody else just to drop everything that you're doing. It would have taken some time to get some consultation, take that material, go get it properly analyzed, do all the different things, all the scientific stuff. Because in previous seasons, when the guys and the gentleman in Europe that they're sending the isotope samples to, like that doesn't happen in weeks. I mean, these are things that happen months and months, and even previous seasons. We found it last year, and now this year we're getting analyzed. So I think I'm very interesting to see, because I think there was activity still going on the island in November this year, which is much later than they typically do. Was it some activities with the, with those particular artifacts and what kind of cool stuff will come up over the winter time? I think next spring and next season is going to be very exciting as well.
Yep, I know. And here's a good question from Laurie Girl 63. Says, do you think that the fellowship will try to purchase the young lot? I don't know. I bet you they've asked, but now that
it's held in trust and it's not for sale.
It's not for sale. It's not for sale.
It's not going to be for sale.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Great.
So, like I said, I'm sure they would like to have it because they'd like to own the whole island. But yeah, I don't. And I think they're fine with it. I think they're okay with the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that?
The young lot.
Lot 5. Robert
Young's
Young's
estate.
Yeah.
Robert died a year ago, and his family owns that in trust, and they can't sell it.
Carolina, I'm not going to put Carolina. I had to put a guess of talking about the freedom. I'm not going to go down that road. Kind of funny, but yeah, I'm not going to bring that one up. Here's one. This was John Edwards. Colin is absolutely correct. In all cases, the First Nations were always there. Yep. Yep. Good point. Yep. This is a good point here too. This was let's see who said this. This is Henry DeWitt. And some of the wood that we talked about, some of that wood that goes back, what was the 2
it's like a couple hundred years, like 200 or 300 AD, like crazy.
It's 337 or 376. It was 246 to 376 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a piece of wood from a Mi'kmaq canoe or boat of some sort? Probably. Could be. Could it be?
You think they had milled wood?
I don't know.
Hand-hewn
well, we're not
wood?
sure if even that piece of wood was milled. I mean, it was a piece of wood.
Yeah. I mean, it goes back a long way.
And Robot made a thing that about 2 pieces of pottery doesn't mean that they were on the island. Part of the statement, but you got to remember, like Laird said, they found a lot of other materials. Like they found, there's thousands of artifacts that we don't actually see on the show. I mean, the show has 1 hour segments, and you can only show so much stuff. And hence, like you showed the map that they had a lot of these red zones. There was way more artifacts found, and in the area, which would be like, I don't know, a kilometer or 2 away is Gold River. which is a very well established for many generations First Nations, reserve homestead that a lot of people in the summertime would come to the ocean to the mouth of Gold River to fish and gather and live in the summertime and then move further inland in the wintertime.
Oh, yeah. Jan said it's a dory. Yeah, that's right. We were talking about that being a dory. Some of that wood, those wood pieces that they found. But yeah, like Colin said, these different areas, there was more than just what he saw there. There was quite a bit. So, and there's no reason. I mean, like I said, I really think it's important to note that they working with the First Nations people might really answer a lot of questions. So anyway, yeah, let's move along here. So, let's see. So, and this was where the guys went out in the swamp there. Alex and David were working along the edge of the swamp, and they had this new device that they came out with. They were looking for the evidence, which is what they were digging for when they found the pottery, and they had to stop. Now they're working on this road to see if this road still leads up to the money pit from the southeast corner of the swamp. Did this road come on and go all the way up? So they were taking out this new piece of equipment here. This was it had a fancy name to it. The OKM Jeopard GPR 3D scanner. That's a mouthful. That
That
admits
3D scanner now, Jeff. That 3D scanner. That's a new type of device, isn't it?
I've
Did
not
you notice
seen
how
one.
they didn't have to send the information away to be interpreted?
Correct.
They didn't have to put it on a laptop. It was boom on the screen. And
Yeah,
I think it's the first time they've ever mentioned something being a 3D scanner.
Yes. That was really cool. And I've got a picture of that graph that they brought up, and they were like spinning it around and looking at different. I mean, that was, and like you just said, right now, they don't have to send that data off and have it analyzed. And a couple of weeks later, the guys come back and show you on the big screen. It's right now. That was awesome. And I can imagine, can you imagine what that thing, I mean, they might have, somebody
They
might
may
have
have
loaned
rented
it.
it. They
Yeah,
didn't
or
think
rented
they
it.
bought it.
Probably a loaner.
Yeah, for recognition purposes.
Could be.
Yeah, as long as you tell everybody what it was, you can borrow it to go out, and that stuff, that's how you get things done.
Brand
work with us,
recognition.
we'll work with you. Yeah. So you see him walking along here. Alex is walking along with it here, and he's scanning as he goes, which is really kind of cool. And this guy's a little rendition of exactly what it's doing. It's sending out those electronic pulses, and they're looking for the road to continue, and whatever else may be down there as well. Right. Amy says they use the scanner to see under the ground. Exactly right. This thing, I'd be going all over the whole island with it, quite honestly. Did it say how deep?
130 feet. There we go.
130.
Yep.
Yeah,
I
it
just-
emits electronic pulses that create a 3D image of structures and objects up to 130 feet below. Would you not be going over the whole island with that thing? I know I would.
I'd certainly be in the money pit with it.
Oh, you don't? Yeah. I'd be.
But again, depending on where you set it, how you
It's
set
like
it,
a garbage dump.
yeah, it would be.
Yeah, you'd be getting all kinds of.
And depending on the
wood.
settings and the readings and how deep and how accurate to certain depths, I mean, it might not be perfect for all purposes.
Yeah. Jack Campbell. Jack, what do you think? Should they take that over and look for the ship shape anomaly? What do you think? Jack, I know you're out there. You're watching. Tell me what you think about that. Get that baby.
We know
Turn
what
around.
Jack thinks.
Turn around right from where you're standing there and go the other way with it. Go towards Nolan's Peninsula. Come on, man.
Wait till a swamp fills up with water and jump in a canoe.
There you go. Yep. I mean, I want to know. I want to know what that anomaly is. So anyway, that's what they were doing here. And like I said, it's a neat looking thing. I mean, it's great. I would think it would have some kind of a shoulder strap or something to help hold it. I don't know how heavy it is, but it's probably not very heavy. But I mean, to walk around with it for a while, it's got to be a bit of a strain. So you'd think it'd have some kind of a shoulder strap or something to walk around with it.
Maybe it did, but Alex is tough.
Oh yeah, he's showing his muscles there. Yeah, so Tracy said, I like the way they found a way to get around the red zone by using the scanner and follow it to the edge of the red zone. Yeah, I know. Whoop. There's Kitty Cat. Hi. Here, Kitty Cat's going to say hi. We're going to put her back on the floor. I had a feeling she might show herself. Yes, I know. You don't need to be on the show right now. All right.
He's probably just jealous because Deidre and Dustin had their cat on last
I
night.
know that. That's right. Yeah, Dustin had the cat on there yesterday. Yeah, so yeah, Kitty's a little jealous. She had to make her appearance. All right. Here's the picture of that 3D image, and this is what's really cool. Is the fact that they can spin this around and look at all the different angles, and you see here, and I'll zoom in on this a little bit. You see here it shows the ground level up here, and then how far down. Now I'm sure there's some sort of a graph that's telling them how deep this goes, and these different anomalies that are here. Even though we can't really see it on here, I'm sure but isn't that cool to be able to get this data right there on the spot? I think that's really, really awesome. Deidre says, oh yes, Simon has to join the podcast. Yeah. Jan's cat's too big to pick up. Really? Yeah. She's not that old yet. She's only about 2 years old. So she's not too hefty yet. She's a good mouser though. All right. As I head down that rabbit hole. So that was pretty cool to see them guys working on that. Then we get over to the swamp. To the money pit. And this is where the bulk of the show, the interesting parts, I think, of the show. It was all pretty interesting. Oh, Jan says it's 24 pounds. That's not very heavy for that thing. 24 pounds ain't bad at all.
She's talking about her cat.
Oh, the cat. Oh. I thought she was talking about the scanner. I'm talking about Deidre's talking about being off topic. I'm going to clear off the edge here, boy. I thought you were talking about the scanner. I thought she went and looked it up. The cat's 24 pounds. Thank you, Linda.
Maybe it's a cat scanner. Who knows?
It's a cat scanner. Oh, you guys are funny. Oh, look at Jan's laughing at me now. Yep. Yeah, the cat's 24 pounds. Wow. Okay. Oh, my goodness. All right. So anyway, here they are in the money pit and putting the cans down there. I like that aerial shot there. And then this was where they were first starting off. They were working about, 20. She talked about being 40 feet. They were about 40 feet down. And one of the things that I keyed on when she said that was that she said they wanted to get down to the point of interest, which was 70 to 90 feet. She said, we'll be there tomorrow. Because one of the things that Colin and I know, we've all talked about this, was that how far can they go in a week's time? So how long does it take them to get down? So if they're at 40 some feet today, and tomorrow they can get down to say 70 or 80 feet. So we're talking 40 feet or so a day, right?
Sounds like it.
That's, yeah.
It sounded to me like it was going to take them about 3 days to put that can down.
That's faster than I thought. I was thinking a week, a 5-day week to get it all the way down to their area. So
that was only to get them to the 110 foot mark, right? If they want to go deeper than that.
Well, that was to get down to, because it says on the notes that they were talking, they were at about 40 feet. The shaft is approximately 13. They hit the target zone of 70 to 90 feet tomorrow. So that's another 40 to 45 feet in a day. And they stop at dark, or thereabouts.
Yeah.
So if they were going to go down 150 feet, it's going to take them 4 or 5 days.
Yeah. And I think set up in the pad and moving it and doing everything, it's probably, a solid 2-week event to get it placed, get the pad reinforced, get that up, dig.
Right.
Okay, now we're going to go. And they were there for, 4 weeks at the time they were setting up to the time that they were starting to haul down. So the toucan theory is very plausible.
Yep.
Didn't they come about the 20th or 21st of September?
Yep.
And they were there until the first part of November.
Yeah, I think they were taken down the last week of October. They were starting to disassemble.
Mm-hmm.
It appeared to be disassembling. Now I'm not standing right beside them. I'm
You're
kind
going to need to get closer this next year.
yeah, I'm in the water beside them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, would it depend? It would depend on what they're retrieving. That's true. How much they stop and look at what their spoils are and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's going to take some time too. Yeah, for sure.
because even that rock that they were pulling out, I mean, they had to slow down, and if they
Right.
thought something of interest, could slow things down. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and like Kate said, it took Dan, what is it, 10 years to put his. I mean, but I mean, look at the way he had to go about doing it. Look at the technology. I mean, it's just amazing the way they can.
Other thing is, Vanessa said this oscillator has so much more power. The hammer grab is heavier. The cans will go down more quickly because of the power and the weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
but
that's
not
true.
to jump around. I know earlier we were kind of talking about the basically like the 1908, 1910 dig
Right.
and how long that they were there for that took them to do that. Because I mean, they clearly dug a hole and tunnel and had it reinforced and everything. At least I think where was that struck? Was it? It was 80 feet. They were crossing the boot
Does
cuddle.
it say when they started that dig?
No, we landed on. I'm just reading from an article here from Collier's magazine, and this is the gentleman that we're doing. We landed on Oak Island, August 27, 1909.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you guys are figuring like he spent 2 seasons digging before
Right.
they gave up.
Right.
So I mean,
And they were digging down an existing hole too, an existing shaft.
yeah. And that's
down
with
50.
110-year-old technology, and they still managed to dig that in a season because the season's not that long here. I mean,
Right.
yes, we get nice springs, we get nice falls, we get nice summers, but winters are typically fairly moderate. But you still only have months of prep and digging and getting equipment and getting it out there. And it's not like
Yeah.
today. I mean, you see the guys are rolling in with tractor trailers, just one after the other lined up. You can imagine back in 1908 and saying, okay, guys, we're going to grab some heavy equipment and go out to this island off Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Get your
Yeah.
barge.
Yeah, and
In
there
your
was no
barge.
causeway. There was
Yeah.
no causeway to drive over.
No, not in
Yes.
1908, 1909. There was no causeway. It didn't get built to the 1960s. So,
Unbelievable.
yep, definitely. I mean, that's incredible that what they were able to do at that time frame. Yeah, and we do have some pictures of that coming up here pretty quick too. So, very interesting. So, thank you, Amy. I guess Amy went and looked it up. The scanner weighs 21 pounds. The cat's 23 pounds. The cat weighs more than the scanner.
Cat wins.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So yeah, 1965 is that Jack said. I guess that's when the causeway was built. Yep.
I think there's the only thing crazier than that. I think Lori Girl 63 made a note earlier that the fellowship has grown so much in season 1. I never thought I'd be watching this 9 years later. Well, I never thought they could dig a hole that deep in 2 years. I never thought I'd be watching 9 years later doing this either.
None of us did.
No.
Crazy.
Yeah, it really is.
What a journey.
Yeah, it has been, and it's. I think we're getting close. I think we're getting really. I think they're gonna. And again, it's just my opinion, but I think they're gonna find something significant this year that may lead to. I don't know if they're gonna pull up the treasure this year, but I think they're gonna find something significant this year that's going to lead to the big dig at some point.
Yeah.
Here's the guys at the table, and they're getting ready to watch some of the stuff coming out and talking with Laird there in the group. And there's another shot of the can or the grab. So there they are. They're looking at D2 is where they're going in right here. And I grabbed that shot real quick of the grid, showing where they're in relation to the C1 can that went down. Let's see. And here's now when they first started pulling stuff out, that was this backfill. This stuff right here, small rock, a lot of dirt and sand in it. That was all backfill. And again, this area that they're looking in was on the edge. If you remember the Dunfield dig area, let's see. And I hate doing this to you guys, but I'll try to hold up. This is Deidre's map It's not going to work too well. It's not going to work with my. Sorry. But the D2 was on the edge of the Dunfield dig area. So you've got that cone of the Dunfield dig, went down 140 feet. It was 100 feet wide at the top in diameter, down 140. At the bottom of it was only about 10 feet in diameter. So the D2 was on the edge. So for that first area, they're not only going to be getting on their own backfill, but they're also going to be digging in some of the Dunfield backfill until they get down past that point. And there may be some wood, whatever Dunfield pushed back into that hole. They're going to be getting wood and whatever for a little ways until they get past that cone and start into fresh, or maybe another shaft or something like that, which is what they ended up doing. So this one here, the first couple grabs that came out were dry and they were all just backfill. Let's see. Yeah. Henry was talking about the causeway brought over to bring over Dunfield's heavy equipment. Yep. And so that other stuff that they brought, I got a picture of it. We'll show here in just a little bit, but there's Gary jumps up right as soon as they empty it out. Billy spreads it out. Gary jumps over there, gets a metal detecting, and then it gets scooped up and put into the dump truck to take down to the wash plant. Because as you heard Marty and Rick saying, I think Marty made the comment, this way we don't miss anything. And I think it's the perfect way to go about it.
Yeah.
They don't want to miss a thing. One thing I noticed go ahead.
And we can see now why they had to close down operations in the swamp. Remember they said they wanted all hands on deck?
Yep.
That's why. The amount of manpower they're putting up there to, the wash plant, at the money pit, right? There's a lot of people up there.
It is. It truly is. And one of the things I thought was pretty cool is when they put this caisson, this is that big one we saw that we had the small piece and the large piece put together, laying on the ground there. When they put this down, and I was wondering about those holes in it, and they actually put like a locking mechanism. The one guy was going around with a power drill and he was locking in these little pieces on the holes here when they slide it down into place. I thought that was really cool. And I wondered, there's so much stress going on in this thing when it's working it back and forth. It would have to be obviously engineered to handle all of that, but pretty cool the way they get that thing put together. Here's some of the pieces of wood they were bringing up initially, which is all interesting, and they probably get some of that dated. But this is probably all searcher wood, I would imagine, at this point, these pieces anyway. And then as they go along, there's a shot of Vanessa out there talking with the guys, and this is where they were discussing. You remember when they got to that one point where they said they were kind of not pulling up anything anymore from the hammer grab. They were just getting mostly water and a few chunks of dirt and rock, small rock, but nothing substantial was coming up. And so they had a little discussion what they wanted to do. Then they had this is where Gary was over looking in the spoils, and he had found that nail. I think it was a nail that he pulled up. Yeah, there it is there. That they thought looked like a square nail. Probably was used in the construction, holding some of the timbers together. But we don't know for sure, at this point, what it would have been, if it would have been searcher, shaft, nail, or anything else. We just don't know at this point. We didn't get that far with it being analyzed. But of course that shows that they're looking for everything, every little thing they can find out of there, that they can. Now, this one here, they went down. You've noticed how they jumped down to the wash plant real quick during that time frame to see what was going on. Now here you don't see anybody down there doing anything, but I've got this shot here. Now you've seen all the people there, and this is where Rick said he was going to head over there because he wanted to go down and actually get involved in this, because now they're bringing all these spoils from that target area of 60 to 90 feet. They're starting to bring those spoils down there. Rick wanted to get down there and see what they're actually looking for, more people to look at it. And this is, again, just what was brought up about all hands on deck. Finish up in the swamp, finish up where other work is going on. Let's get everybody involved in going through these spoils. We don't want to miss anything. And so you see all the people that are standing just here on this conveyor belt here watching this going by. That's exactly why. And then this gentleman here, we don't know his name, but anyway, he found a piece that, and you see right here, it says, is this metal? And he hands it over to Rick. Rick takes a look at it and says, yeah, it's a piece of metal. So they bagged it and tagged it, and they're going to have it analyzed. And I think we saw a little segment in the preview for next week's show where they said something about they were analyzing a piece of metal. We don't know if it was this piece or not, but they were analyzing a piece of metal. Now we don't know if it came out of something Gary might have found, or this, or maybe it was that nail. Hopefully, it was something more significant than that nail.
Yeah, but that nail's not going to have gold on it.
Yeah, right. Thank you. Yes, that's very right. They're very true. Yeah, it's not going to have gold on that nail. So interesting here that they found a piece of metal there, and we don't know. I mean, they only showed us this one. They could have found several pieces of metal, so that would be cool to find out. So they got that looked at. Now, one of the things I wanted to point out too is this right here. This looking at the hammer grab. I grabbed this picture of the hammer grab simply because I get a missing teeth already. I mean, this is the first caisson going in the ground, and they're down about 100 feet. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, we were talking about these teeth earlier, but in the pre-show meeting, and we see these here. So they are designed to, they're not welded on at this point right here. There's a little pin probably that goes through that holds
it's
the
almost
tooth
like
on.
a hinge.
Yeah,
But they've broken off. What's that, Tom?
Yeah, you can see like the joint where they come together, where they're pinned together.
Yeah. So we see they've broken off already. Some of them.
Welcome to Nova Scotia for trying to digging in rocks.
Rock farm. Yeah.
Oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I noticed that when they were showing the hammer grab, coming up and dropping stuff in there, I'm like, look at all the teeth missing on that thing already. My goodness. And I thought at the time that they were probably welded on and they were busting off. And I thought, oh my, but there's probably a pretty hefty pin that's, holding these together. It would slide right into the section there. But again, yeah, they can just be replaced. And they're probably pulling them up into spoils. And then Gary's over there metal detecting, beep, 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 pulls up one of these teeth. You would hope they would get them back. Some of them. They can.
What's that hammer grab weight? 22,000 pounds?
Yeah.
They say pick up, it's a 5 yards of material at a time.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's
supposed to pick up 11,000 pounds of earth at once.
Yeah. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, that is truly crazy that they can. I mean, that's a massive, massive piece of equipment. I mean, the standard
tons.
Yeah.
Per grab.
That's like 6 cars.
Yeah.
And hence the conveyor belt system, like running. I mean, just to try to process that material would be days and days, and like it would be.
Great.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, 5 yards. Jan said 5 yards is correct. Yep, thank you, Jan. Yeah. So pretty interesting, I mean, that thing is, and we haven't seen the other one used yet. The one that has no teeth on it's just got the the maw on it that closes and pulls up stuff, and they may use that at some point too, because it was laying over on the side there. This stone I thought was pretty cool. This is where they got an all stop there for a few minutes, and then and I'm like, when Vanessa came over and she's like, okay, we're kind of not pulling up anything. What do you want us to do? Do you want us to stop? We're going to move, or we want to keep going? And I'm thinking, what? Keep going. You got to keep going. So, and they obviously made that choice. Yeah, to keep going. And they were saying, hammer on it a little bit. That's hammer grab. Get that thing hammering a little bit. See if you can bust through whatever's holding it up. The next bucket or the next grab didn't bring up a whole lot more, but then this one, to Houston, Texas, Dave says, keep going. Yeah, you got to keep going. I mean, you're at 90 feet, 100 feet. Was that about where they were when this happened?
Yeah, that was kind of the target zone, I think. But I think that what they were worried about there was that they did, if it was a chamber of some sort, they were worried about crashing through it. Right. So do you want us to keep going, or do you want to think about this? And they said keep going. So
yeah.
I suspect that rock with the hole drilled through it will probably be sitting over by the Experience Center or whatever when you come in. You'll see that in a tour.
I bet so. Yeah, here's Gary over looking at it here, and we were kind of speculating about what it would have been at first before they got a good look at it. About it being some sort of an anchor or
I thought it was an anchor stone when they first.
Yeah, like an anchor stone.
I got the first picture of it. I thought, oh boy, here we go. We got an anchor stone.
Yeah, some kind of a stone that would be used for a counterweight on a pulley system or something.
That's what you use an anchor stone for. Yeah. Up and
Yeah,
down, up and
so
down.
that's what
Yeah.
we were kind of, oh my gosh, we're kind of stoned because we get chatting during the show, just like I know a lot of you guys do. And, but yeah, so we were all speculating about it. And then you see this nice, beautiful, smooth borehole in it. And you're like, okay, we know what made that.
That was a letdown.
Yeah. And they went over and measured it with a measuring tape. And sure enough, but I thought this was cool in the respect that this hole that's made in this thing, it shows what the sonic drill can really do. I mean, we've noticed them bring up all kinds of pieces of wood and dirt and whatnot, and there's times where I've seen them in when they cut open the bag, and Terry and Charles are over there looking through the what's brought up in the sample, and sometimes I've noticed like a chunk what looks like a rock, and it's like a little cylinder that they've cut out. Well, there you go. There's where it's from, right there. Um, so that rock is not going to stop that sonic drill rig from just boring right on through. It might take them a little longer to make their way through that, but obviously it can. But that's neat.
It'll stop a 22,000-pound hammergram, but it's not going to stop a drill.
Exactly. Yeah, and you can see the teeth marks on it where the hammer grab was grabbing onto it and trying to pull it up. You can see all these little spots right here. I don't know if that was teeth marks or whatever, but kind of interesting that
I think Rick actually poured some water over it and he cleaned it off with his hand a bit just to see what the marks were.
But very cool. Not only that, but I thought, they're drilling where D2 is, right? They were following D2 and they probably centered themselves right over D2, you would assume. And then they go down and they hit this rock down there. Now we know that the 6-inch or whatever that is, 8-inch borehole that they put in the ground, we know it walks. As the deeper it goes down, the more it walks away from straight up and down, true straight up and down. And so, but I mean, the fact that they hit that, and I'm assuming that's the borehole that D2 made through that. That's kind of cool. That they're still following that same path. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, because they would know exactly where that ended up. Steve drops a gyro down there after every hole is bored, and he knows exactly where it ends up.
Yep. Yeah, that's why you see those nice, the worms. It looks like the worms when they show the map and it shows all those little worms, that's our slinky, or it looks like a slinky spread out. That's exactly what that is the walk of the drill. Now, did they say the caisson can actually walk or not? It's pretty rigid. It's not going to walk, I don't think.
It's pretty rigid.
Yeah. I have to ask that for Vanessa when she's on. I don't think it does. I think it stays pretty steady because it's,
I don't think it would move too much. It's just too
not
big.
much, if anything. Yeah.
It would take so much pressure to move that back and forth.
Yep. Yeah. Henry DeWitt said, yeah, a counterweight for a pulley system. That's what I was thinking when I first saw it. Yeah. Unfortunately. So they keep on going and they start pulling up some better chunks of wood. And then they get over there and Gary goes over to do some metal detecting and he finds a boot. Now, this is obviously where the name of the show came from, Eyes and Boot in the Ground, which was, I was hoping was not just some crazy teaser. Now, everybody, we were all speculating about that, talking amongst ourselves. Boot. What kind of boot were they going to find? Were they going to find Christopher Columbus's other shoe? That 1492 shoe that they are boot heel or shoe heel that they found last time, or what's it going to be? So everybody, I mean, it got me really excited. I'm still pretty excited about this, even though it didn't turn out to be an old leather shoe or boot. Vanessa's going to be coming on pretty soon. We've been working with Vanessa. We did the same thing. Wade asked that question about Vanessa. Wade Buckle, and we've talked to her. We've been in communication with her about coming on. Same thing holds as to what we said earlier about having Vanessa on. To have her on, like this week, next week, or whatever, or within the next couple of weeks, really doesn't make a whole lot of sense because she can't talk about anything, and if it hasn't aired.
Yeah, exactly, and her work may not air for weeks to come.
Right. So she'll be on the show. She's coming on. We've already. I was the very first one to ever interview her, and I like that because I reached out to her and brought her on. This was a long time ago, but I had a great time with her, and she's been a friend of our channel. I gotta show it now. I'm so proud of this. I gotta show it. and my rock hat
Nice. Nice.
with her name. She signed my hat.
Jeff, you're so spoiled. I can't
I
believe it.
am. I know. It's like, oh, the things that come with doing the show. But this gets hung up at, I don't ever take it out to the.
I ordered a hat for Jeff, and Vanessa and I were talking back and forth about it. And she said, "Oh, can I give him one and sign it?" And I was going to say, "Nah."
Oh, you wouldn't do that to me.
Wow.
Oh my gosh,
wouldn't.
that's my pride and joy right there. One of my I got a signed picture from Carmen. I got that hat. But yeah, it's just I know he sent out several of the signed pictures Carmen did, which was awesome. But yeah, that hat, that's very special to me. So yes, we will be having Vanessa on the show. But as I said, we're going to wait until the end of the season because it just doesn't make sense.
Nuts to have her on now.
Right, because she
She
wouldn't
can
be
tell
able
us
to
about
tell
the
us
first 40 feet of this hole.
And there's no show on next week. So, I mean, we got to wait. So she can really talk about everything. So we'll have her on. Don't worry. She'll be coming on. But this was really cool. Even though it wasn't a leather boot, my interest got piqued when they got looking at it. And here again is the work of the guys right there, that they can research these things. I thought, man, if it would be some way to find out more about this rubber boot. Here's a closer picture of it. And you see how floppy it is. I mean, it's not, rubber boots today aren't quite that floppy. They're more rigid to stand up.
It has been in the ground for 110 years, Jeff.
Very true.
It was made in Canada, so it's good.
That's right.
It's good quality. Right. Exactly right. I wasn't going to downplay its quality. Here's the interesting thing that they've caught right here. I'm sorry. Who was the one that was? It was a Doug or was it?
It was
Doug.
Doug.
Okay. Doug. Oh, here it is, right here. Doug. Of course, it's in Jan's synopsis. Of course, Doug came over and tells the group that the boot was made by Kaufman in Canada, a rubber company which made these boots, 1908 and 1909.
Yeah.
So, what does that tell us? Okay, yes, it's early 1900s, 1808, 1809 that they made this particular type of boot.
19.
Who was there in 1808, 1809?
1908.
I'm sorry, no, I did backwards. I did that earlier too. 1908, 1909.
Yeah.
Who was there?
FDR.
FDR and his group. Now, was this the Truro group or was this?
This is the Old Gold Salvage and Wrecking Company.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
So yes, it was a searcher boot. That's what Amy said. It was a searcher boot. Could it be FDR's boot? It could have been any one of these gentlemen, but it could have been. Could be. But any of these guys, there's probably 10. There's there's got to be close to 10 people right there. So it could have been. We don't know. If it didn't have initials inside of it.
The cool part with the boot is that it's actually, I think, probably the first time we had definitive who made the tunnel, the exact date when it happened, the whole backstory to it. I think it's.
And we know that there were two shafts there.
Yep.
Side by each, and one of them was the money pit shaft. So we know, to me at least, we know now that we've got an axe to his. The big mystery has been, where is the original money pit shaft?
Yep.
Well, I think we just solved that.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the key points, like you just said. That's one of the key points of it, because of the fact that they knew at the time, or they were sure, positive of where the money pit was. They were going down alongside of it. So now finding that boot tells them that they are going down exactly where they did. Now, the thing that I thought about the boot was this: they're bringing up these hammer grabs of dirt. And I'm going to throw these questions out to you guys. Was the boot found in layers of dirt, or are they following a shaft? Was the shaft filled back in by these guys when they were done? they're obviously not in a void. They didn't pull the boot out of a void, so the boot must have been in the dirt. What do you think? What do you think about that boot? Was it in a collapsed tunnel? Was it?
I think as they're grabbing the stuff, everything is crushing and compressing anyway. I think whatever gaps there were, because they're seeing in the anomalies, they're doing the scans. There's clearly have scanned and shown tunnels, but when you're digging it up and dropping a whatever you say, that 11 or 10, 20,000 pound hammer grab on it, it's going to flatten it out pretty hard.
That's very true.
The cool part is it were they beside the money pit, or did they not go deep enough? Because I think at the end of this episode was very, very cool, at least to me, was because as they kept going past that point, they kept pulling up more material. And remember that borehole, it was when the gold pieces were found at, was it 85 or 90 feet?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And the boot was found at what, 60, 70?
Let's see if it says in here. I know it's in the synopsis. If it's, let me read here for a second. Because I've forgotten what it was. At the end of the day, the team went to the can is at 100 feet, 101. They excavated to 92.5. So Doug tells them. So it had to be ahead before that. So probably I would say right around the 80 to 90, maybe. What do you think, Linda?
Says about 98.
Okay.
Before they got to 98.
Yeah, because I can't remember what the depth is. Remember the two pieces of metal from the
you froze.
borehole they had picked out, and
Right.
it had quite a bit of gold on them.
Yep.
How it was. Because as the show continues, and at the end of the show, they keep on pulling. You know, there was almost like there was nothing, and then, oh my God, look at this, and then end of the show, and
yeah. Boy, I don't need. Does anybody remember the metal? I thought it was right around the 80 mark. I was thinking because they were following that shaft, but I don't know. I'd have to go back in all my notes. Let me see if I can. I don't know what episode was that. I don't remember what episode that was that they found the metal. That would have been like episode number 6 or 7.
Yeah, it was 3 or 4 episodes ago. It wasn't too far along.
No, it wasn't. Let me see. I've got lots of synopsises right here, but I can maybe take a minute to look. But
just trying to put from where the boot was found, because we know where that shaft, that searcher shaft was the metal found above it, or was it found below it? Because they keep digging and they find more stuff. So
yep.
Oh, chances the boot at 83 feet.
The boot was at 83 feet. Okay. What was the metal that they found that had the gold content on it? Does anybody remember what level that was at?
Someone here's got to know that.
Yeah.
Jan will know.
Jan will know. Hatching the plan. I think it was called it all adds up.
Yeah, because the can is much deeper than what they're digging out for now. Like as they're
right,
going,
yes.
put the can and then
the can is 10 feet deeper.
Yeah.
Basically.
Keep the integrity of whatever they're pulling out. It doesn't collapse underneath of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll have to get that information and bring it up because I don't remember exactly how deep that piece of metal was, but I think it was very close because you're right. It came out of D2. So we'll have to see if we can't pull that up and talk about that because I think it was. I'm thinking right around the same depth.
Well, I think that's what's going to kind of dictate the next episode.
Yeah.
Do they get into the place where all that metal is and where the gold really is? Do they got to move a can beside it? And is it adjacent or is it below it?
Right.
Hence
and
the
like we said
one
earlier,
can or two.
right. And like we said earlier, you were there and you noticed that if they did put in a second can,
it
couldn't have moved very far from the first one because you thought they were about the same.
Yeah.
Craig says 90 feet. I think it was is that the gold, the metal with the gold on it? Was that 90 feet? April says 90. Rita says Craig says 90 feet.
Well, that 90 feet was kind of their target zone, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
but that's the same. Was the metal was at 90, the boot was at 80.
83.
83.
Jan said
Yeah.
it said 83.
So it
Yeah.
kind of was their tunnel, FDR's tunnel or shaft, right above where the actual money pit was. Do they,
And
Yeah.
FDR's people didn't find anything. They didn't find it
that's
because
what I
they
mean.
didn't go deep enough.
Can
Yeah,
you
Right.
imagine if they missed it by 10 feet?
10 feet.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
there were two shafts. There were two shafts side by side. So I mean, this 10-foot caisson could be going down the side of one of them. You know,
the pit side
hard
by
to say.
side,
But
pit
the boot-
5 by
but the
7.
the boot is gonna. It tells you you're in the right location.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jan thinks the metal came from 88 feet.
Yep. And I think she's right. I'm pretty sure that's correct. I thought so too. I was thinking right around 80 feet to 90
So it's
feet,
just
somewhere in that
below
range.
the actual.
Yeah. Collier's Magazine article. There are two pits side by side. Money pit,
Yep.
5 feet by 7 feet, heavily cribbed, 110 feet, and then another pit 7 by 7 built.
Yeah.
Now, Tom, you were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's
there
in the
were
article.
two shafts side by side, right? And they went down to about 113 feet overall when they went down, and then at 113 feet, then they tried to use a 1.5-inch core drill to go down into the 150-foot range. So they didn't actually find any treasure, but they found things like blue clay and what they thought was cement and things like that.
Yeah.
Because the adjacent tunnel, was it not that the theory was to avoid because the money pit was thought to be flooded. So they were
Correct.
digging an adjacent tunnel.
I thought
Side
that was
by
the hidden
side.
shaft.
Yeah, when they originally opened the money pit, they could get down 30 feet and it was full of water.
So they were going down alongside of it. So that's yeah. So I mean, and what the neat thing about this is they said, and I was like, again, they brought up that big the rock with the hole in it. But the interesting too, and I wanted to show this picture, was this hammer grab that we got right at the end of the show. This hammer grab shot right here. Now, I was trying my best to get a closer one. There was some closer ones that were floating around on the internet in different groups that were a little bit better than this, but I can zoom in on this. But this is what they were getting after they went past the point that the rock was stopping them. And Linda pointed out something very cool about these is that you can see, if you see my mouse moving, I know it's really tiny. Sorry, folks. But this piece of wood that's on the right sticking out here has a pin, a piece of dowel. I guess it would be a piece of wooden dowel
Or a
sticking
metal
out of it.
spike. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be a piece of metal spike. We just don't know yet. Well, I'm sure we'll find out next week. But you see that sticking out of there. And then you see like one on this piece here. Okay, that puts it at an older date. Chances are that's not Searcher. I know I'm reaching there a little bit on that because I don't have my facts and figures like Doug or Charles or them guys would, but
But FDR shaft, though, I mean, the interesting thing is we're putting the caisson straight down. Clearly, FDR shaft was coming at an angle.
Yep.
Because they didn't hit it until whatever it was, 70, 80 feet before they started pulling that shaft out. So that was coming at an angle from somewhere else.
Yep.
And it was underneath because they didn't hit the boot until after those rocks. So those rocks and everything were clearly in there tight to be able to have to drill through, and they didn't push out of the way from the old sonic drill. It actually was in there hard enough to drill into it.
Right.
So.
Now, one of the pictures I wanted to show was this one that Tom pulled this up. This was from that article, right? Is this from the website you were reading?
Yeah.
This is a picture of the actual 1908, 1909 digs, right? This is their hammer grab.
Yeah.
This was their hammer grab going down, and I didn't know if they were were they trying to dig out of the money pit, or were they is this part of their digging their pit?
This is one of the, this is the shaft that they put down, and whether
Right.
that's actually over the money pit, X marks the spot, I don't know, but that's where they were digging down, and they get down to 113 feet.
Right. Now you see. Oh, thank you. Jan just sent me a picture. Thank you, Jan. I'll pull that one up here in just a second. But the thing I wanted to
because
notate on this.
obviously spikes
Huh?
in that one. It's obviously spikes in that one.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good. Yeah, they are spikes. They're not wood dowels. But I'll show that picture here in just a second. This is the canopy trees. Somebody noted the canopy trees in the background. But you'd see the wood, and it looks like somebody commented, "Oh, it looks like a branch," or not milled. Eric said these are not milled pieces of wood, and neither were the ones that they were pulling up over here. Look at these laying on here. Now, we don't know because we weren't there, and I don't know how well documented Tom was reading, if they talked about these pieces of wood very much. But look at these pieces
Not this article, they didn't know.
Okay. That these are not very well milled pieces of wood either.
No.
That are laying here. These are round. They look round to me. This one over here has been flattened off. You see the flattened edges on this one way over here. But the rest of these look like they're kind of round. They got maybe some wood working on you can see this one at the very bottom. I don't know if I can pull it up here a little better for you. This one looks like it was maybe milled on the bottom on the edge where it was tied into another piece. It looks squared right here a little bit, but I don't know. What do you make of that? I mean,
if you're going to build cribbing going down into a shaft, it doesn't have to be milled lumber. It just has to be a log, right?
Yeah.
You're just making a log wall.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I thought that was pretty cool. And you correlate this picture with this one, and there you go. I mean, you can kind of see that this piece that's right here. It now again we're taking, it's just a snapshot, and I can't tell for sure if it's squared off. This one looks like it's squared off, but this one doesn't. So I don't know. I just thought that was kind of cool that they were very similar, that they were pulling up about the same time. Now, again, we don't know, or at least I don't know, if they took when the 1908, 1909 was finished, did they just they go up, we didn't find anything, push the dirt back in the hole, and all the wood and everything else back in the hole too, that now these guys are put up? Could be. I don't know. Is there any record of that, Tom? Did you know? Does it say anything about?
I don't know what they did with the spoils. I honestly suspect that if they ran out of time, ran out of money, whatever, they would have just pushed it back in the hole.
Well, remember there was
or left it.
Or left it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember the talk about the serpent mounds?
Yeah.
Further up on the island. I mean, there's clearly a lot of that would have been material from somebody, whether it was that expedition or another one that would have been dumping their dirt out up on the top of the island.
Spoils from Dunfield.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he dug his
crater.
Cone.
Yeah. Now here's the picture that Jan went out and captured. And again, thank you, Jan, for this. I'm going to bring this one up real quick. Okay, this is that same hammer grab with a better picture of it, and you can see right here.
The skinny lines are arrows that the guy that took this picture has made those arrows.
Right.
But you can see the pieces that go clear through.
Right here.
Yeah.
This one, you can see the knob here. You can see the piece here. Same way up on this one. You can see this piece up here, and then the knob or piece of it sticking out here.
Yeah.
So, and they look round. This one looks round to me. And there's another one right here that's round.
Yeah.
This one up here on the top.
Yeah.
So these were not very well, very much anyway. There's some square ones in the background. There's this one back here. So, and this one may have been somewhat, but again, so they'll analyze these. The team will go through these, very carefully and kind of determine what exactly do they have here. Now, I don't think that go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, could some of the squared off wood be parts of a ship? And the round stuff they added in by cutting down trees on the island and used them also?
Absolutely.
And there was also round wood logs used in the construction of ships too. It wasn't all square lumber.
True.
Oh, here's a good question from Mary. Yeah, and Amy said that's an excellent question. It is. It'd be interesting to know if any of that wood has tar, pine tar, or anything
Mhm.
like that on them. Yes, it would.
Tom, how much blue clay did
Oh
that
yeah,
article say? There was
When
a
they did
ton of
the
blue clay.
1.5 inch core drill from 130 feet down to 149, they found 16 feet of blue clay.
16 feet of blue clay.
I
That's
think
a lot of
in
clay.
that article too, Tom, you had mentioned something about the limestone and
Yeah, they found what they thought. They found what they thought at the time to be cement. They sent it off, had it analyzed, and it came back as not being cement.
yes.
But again, in 1909, cement contains limestone. They said this contained limestone. So.
Right. And we know because they showed us in the preview for next week that they found
Cement.
And I pulled this picture up because this was from the preview for next week, and they found that chunk of cement. Now this side here, you see it when he turns it over, it had a flat surface on it.
Flat.
It had a definite flat surface, but again, here's that concrete coming up and that blue clay. And John has mentioned it. Is it a blue clay mine? I don't know. But I mean, we haven't seen, have we seen any evidence? Have they pulled up in any of the bore samples? Have they pulled up samples of blue clay?
But that has to
Any
be
of the
down
boreholes?
into the 150-foot range to hit that.
Yeah.
Another thing too about that concrete is I read an earlier article where they sent some of this concrete off to be tested, I believe, in New Brunswick way back in the day, and it came back as a concrete aggregate.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact article now, but
Yep. Yeah, it did. They have some in a jar, a glass jar. I think there's some in the war room. I think they've got a glass jar with some of the concrete in it from that time frame. So that's pretty interesting there. So, and like you said, concrete would have limestone in it, right? Especially back then. But the blue clay, the 16 feet of blue clay, that just blows my mind because they haven't come across that I remember.
Yeah, but if they were building the adjacent tunnel to a flooded shaft, how would they reinforce it to keep from water getting in? Again.
Yeah.
I think the clay and the concrete are all the stuff is pointing to they're in the right spot.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. I think they're in the right spot. I really do.
I mean, if you were going to encase something and seal it with clay, if it was 12 or 16 feet high, whatever it would be, you just happen to be that one shot down. It's only 1.5 inches wide.
Right. Yep. So the last picture, and again, this was from the preview for next week. We can kind of speculate. They analyzed a piece of metal with the XRF scanner that they have in the research center, and lo and behold, they did find gold. Now the numbers were jumping around, and I just grabbed a screenshot as it was going, so I don't know what it ever got to. What was the highest number? But you got
iron.
What's that?
96% iron.
Yeah, 96.69. Yeah.
Iron, lead, and a very little tiny bit of gold.
Right. But again, a little bit of gold. So, and that made Marty's eyebrows rise. But we don't know what piece of metal this was. We don't know if that was that little piece that the guy handed to Rick at the wash plant or if it was something else that they found we just don't know about yet. But interesting, nonetheless, that they found that piece of gold. But that and this concrete, it's like Tom just said. I think it's leaning to the fact that they're in the right spot, or we're really darn close. They just move over a little bit, like we were just talking about. Move over the caisson a little bit. Now they got to backfill this. And I keep thinking about that whole backfill thing, like C1. If they would have backfilled C1, a lot of that backfill that they would have put in there would have been going down into the chamber that we know is in the bottom of C1, and it would have been filling that up too. So they'd have been putting all this backfill into that. We don't know how big that chamber is, but there's definitely a chamber down there that has what I'm calling wrought iron, because they got those pictures that we talked about last week down there. So we don't,
So when do we know when they backfilled like C1, for example, or any of those other cans that they put down? Did they use the spoils or did they bring in their own gravel?
I think they used their own. Do you know anything about that, Linda? Do you know if they used their own or not?
I don't for certain, but I do know that Billy trucked in a ton, well, many tons of small rock.
Right.
Besides the big stuff that they used to put around the island for erosion control.
Right.
Yeah, they trucked in an outrageous amount of gravel and material because everything was just caving and sinking over time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that was, remember, H8 was caving in. And when they were putting that caisson down, and they had to stop because it was and Bass Anderson just asked, didn't that shaft collapse? That was the money pit shaft they were thinking that collapsed at one point, right? Was that the actual money pit shaft they were thinking had collapsed after was it after they put the head and shaft in and then it flooded?
Everything flooded and fell in. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the collapse of the money pit shaft collapsed, and all that wood and everything fell down into the hole. Yeah. One other thing. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I think the thing for me is that they're almost got a bullseye on the original money pit.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Now, whether there's anything in the money pit or not, who knows?
Right.
But if there's a side chamber or an elevated chamber or a chamber off to the side, this is where you're going to find it from.
Yeah. Yep. I still have, I know there's a gazillion different theories on it all, but one of the many, just to throw out there, I know I've said this before, is just ancient mining operation could have taken place for all those things that we're finding, those old wooden cribbing, the old concrete, the clay, all that stuff was from ancient mining methods, but just throwing it in there just in case someday, the end of this season, next season, they say, you know what this was? I remember when Colin said.
Yeah, exactly, because it's on record.
Colin told me.
Yep.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm hoping they pull about 20 ton of gold out of there. It's going to help the property values down here. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I am too. I really do. I hope they do. We all want to see them pull treasure up out of here, obviously.
Oh,
yeah. So many of us, we want this story solved. We want the answers of what's going on. I do. Before we go too, I want to mention that Tracy Benjamin mentioned, he said, before we go, any thoughts about the question I asked earlier about that invisible line that someone followed from overseas straight through the center of another important location, then continued it, then it ran directly and lined up with Nolan's Cross. Does anyone know?
This is Corey and Maul's theory.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
From Temple Mount to Versailles. Was it Versailles?
Yeah,
Versailles,
through Versailles.
And then Versailles onto Oak Island. Yeah.
Yeah. And went right down Nolan's Cross.
Right.
Yeah, that was Corey and Mole and Christopher Morford. That was their working. They brought that up, and they were showing that on their theory. And there's more to be said for that too. There's going to be more coming out about that, I believe. Let's see. He was asking a question. Does anyone know where that line would go if it were continued straight across the United States? No, I don't think anybody talked about that. Okay.
Linda, you're looking up for a reason.
Yeah, you're glancing away. Well, I guess we're not going to find out just yet.
We're not going to find that out yet.
Yeah. All right. So there you go. So you may, Tracy, stay tuned. That's what we can say. Tracy, stay tuned.
Call me.
Yeah. Let's see. Barbara Duncan said, Jeff, I had thought about Nolan's Cross. Maybe the cross. Whoa, it's jumping by too fast here. Maybe the cross isn't a pointer, but a large sanctifying cross for the whole island.
Well, the cross points right to Alessandra Nadivari's foundation at New Ross.
Yeah, the cross arm does. Yeah, it goes right to Alessandra's property that she has in New Ross. There's too many correlations with this cross. This cross, and again, I know it's one of those things that we talked about, but you're not going to go through all the trouble to take these huge boulders, drag them out there with our oxen, and put them in place just to say, hey, look, we just created a cross.
Yeah, this way to my house.
Yeah. I mean, come on. There's more to it than just that. I mean, nobody did this just for the fun of it or saying, oh, hey, let's make a cross. They would have made it a lot smaller. They wouldn't have gone to all this trouble. It has to mean more.
And there was more than one group of people there for more than one reason.
Yes. Yep, we know that too.
Yes.
And the eye of the swamp. Who said that? Was that Jack?
Probably.
No, actually, it was Liam Wilcox. Yeah, the eye of the swamp. Jack and I are all over that. And that blue clay, and John Edwards has mentioned it too. Is that a plug? I'm thinking it's a plug. And I'm thinking we need to pull that plug. Just saying. They gave up too.
It's in a red circle right now.
That's
yeah,
right.
and it's inside the red circle that now we can't go look at. But I'm thinking there's more to that. There's more to the eye of the swamp with all that blue clay they found. Ian Spooner's got some questions to answer. And the cross, not there just by. I mean, nobody's going to go through all that effort. Same thing with all this digging that happened underground in the money pit. Nobody's going to go through all that effort for just to store a little bag full of gold coins or something.
We can carry to Volvo and we'll find out where these stone roads are going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, Tony Sampson's out there.
Tony. Hey, Tony.
Which
All
way's
right.
the
There you
lost
are.
pointless, Tony?
I was talking about you earlier, Tony. I hope you don't mind. I don't know if you were here or not, but yeah, Tony's he's already told us he's coming back on the show. So we're going to get to see Tony, and we're going to get to see, but again, we're going to wait till toward the end of the season so Tony can talk about anything that he may be doing or may have done last summer at the island. So we'll be getting Tony. We've talked to him about it. He said he'd be happy to come back. I'd like to see Tony with his own show, personally, diving show and searching for gold and shipwrecks and stuff so. All right. Well, I tell you what, we're right at the 2-hour mark, folks. And as you know, I like to cut this off at 2 hours. We've had so much fun, and this was a great show. I'm looking forward to next show. And did you see, before I go, did you see what they said? The hammer grab was trying to grab something that it couldn't pick up. And it was dropping it. It was too heavy.
Gold is pretty heavy, isn't it?
Gold is darn heavy, especially a big quantity, a Gerhardt dump truck size load of it. It's going to be darn heavy, isn't it? So what was it trying to pick up that it could not pick up and it was dropping?
Or it was so big that you couldn't get it by the canister. The canister was sitting.
Yeah, the canister, we hit the bottom of the canister and it couldn't go up any higher. The caisson, it was hitting the bottom of the caisson and dropping it. I don't know.
Is the Ark of the Covenant larger than 10 feet long? Or
that depends if the handles are still on it or not.
Pretty close.
You know the dimensions.
Yeah. It's 2 cubits by 4 cubits. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
2 cubits by 4 cubits. So yeah. So we're gonna. I can't wait to next. Well, there's no show next week, so now we got to wait 2 weeks. Isn't this a bummer? Guys, tell me if this is not a bummer. We got to wait 2 weeks to get to episode 16 and find out what was it trying to pick up, and what about that concrete, and what about just too many. I'm beside myself now. I can't wait 2 weeks. We got to get some answers. Anyway, thanks so much, folks, for being here with us tonight. Linda Simpson,
thanks.
So glad to have you on the show with us, and you will see more of Linda in the coming episodes. Linda will be with us now that we got her on the show. And Tom Burns and Colin Jamieson, thank you so much for being here tonight.
And just one more thing before we go, Jeff.
Please.
Canada's playing the U.S. tonight, Linda. So.
Oh, all right.
That's so rude.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we had to have that, right? I mean,
an hour and a half. In an hour and a half.
In an hour and a half.
Late night.
It's going to be a late night game. We go. Oh, there we go. Look at that. Go Canada already popping up. Oh my goodness.
You started an international incident.
Oh, see what you did. See what you
Think
did.
so.
Oh my gosh. So bad. Anyway, thanks folks for being here with us tonight. Again, don't forget to click on that subscribe button and click on that notification bell so you know right away when we got new content coming out. And if you like the content of our show, give us a thumbs up. It really does help us with the whole YouTube thing. If we get a lot of likes and stuff, that helps us to get out to more people because they advertise the show more out in the public to other people that might be looking at Oak Island related stuff. So that gets us out to more exposure. So if you give us the thumbs up, the more subscribers and all that, it does help us to get to reach out to more people and have more people joining the show. So again, thank you so much for that. If you want to help support the show, again, we got our Patreon channel and got my great cup here, my Oak Island and Beyond live stream cup. And I got my button on for the International 500 snowmobile race that I went to up in Michigan. I tell you what. And again, we'll have some more guests coming up here really soon. So thanks again, everybody. Have a great rest of your week. We will see you right here on Saturday at 2:00 for Graham Phillips and my co-host, Gretchen Cornwell. Good night, everybody.
Good night.